More stuff. This is kind of weird to line up, but you stand underneath here. Make sure when you're looking directly upwards that your crosses are right underneath this lamp. And you look over here, and I don't really know how to describe this lineup. You just sort of imagine a V shape here, just sort of aiming in the middle of this. And this is a kind of alternative to the window smoke I showed earlier. This will block out vision from window players. They can jump spot it to see where you're going, but they can't stand here and shoot you. They can't see you. It looks like they can from here, but that's your head's going to be lower than that. They'll never see you. Another good thing about that smoke is pop back here. Is that it stops the back left player from aiming here. So a back left player can't aim like that. But by the same token, similar to the bench smoke I mentioned earlier, CT, when it comes to these site smokes, CTs can always play around them and kind of stay alive for a long time and let their team rotate in. Right, now for post-plant smokes. These two are really good for that. I saw Stono a couple of days ago try and throw a smoke like this, and you end up with something like that, which actually just helps the CTs because they can get out of the kitchen. So a much better way of smoking market is to jam yourself into this corner. Look at this wall here. I'd say go a little bit higher than halfway and then left click. And it just bounces really nicely off that and fully smokes off market. Same thing, jam yourself in this corner, look at this antenna, aerial dishing, and I think it's you aim right in the centre, left click. There you go. And that does exactly the same window smoke as the big jump throw I showed earlier. So obviously you can't do both in the same round unless you have two people there. One throws, moves out of the way, another one jumps in. But these are both really, really good for denying a retake. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, you can jump out this window cleanly if you just strafe out properly. Well, yesterday when I almost won the 3v1, you saw me strafe out like this. You can save yourself a couple of seconds, say there are only like 8 seconds left and you plant the bomb. Rather than banging your head, strafe out and then in. So that means by the time you're trying to fit through that gap, you've fallen enough in from the apex of the jump to nicely fit your body through. If you're struggling with it, you can make your body smaller by crouching. But then you might get caught on the lip, and as you saw, you're a bit slower once you get out the window. Dupree likes to do this. Stoner, this is one for you. As a short player, I often see you chucking the smoke like this into mid. But a much better use is to do what Dupree does, where he bounces the smoke off the lip here. And this is actually a bit of a nuisance for terrorists because they have no idea what's going on short anymore. Whereas you can do whatever you want. You get into ladder room, you can creep up here, you can try and surprise a chair player with a little off-angle peek. You can look down. So a few weeks ago, I was playing short and solo queue. Just smoked this because I heard Randy calling underpass. Just crept up. First of all, check this angle. It's a common camping spot, and then come here, and then just jump up, and spray one down, and then get away. Like that. So that's a good way to play short. And if they like to rush catwalk quickly, just put a spanner in their works. And it also lets you chuck loads of grenades and mollies without fear because you're behind a smoke. If you want a specific lineup for that, take the aerial. Actually, no, not the aerial. Sorry. Look at this carpet. If I remember correctly, you look at the carpet and you throw any nades. Exactly. And that way it will bounce an HE or a molly, so it lands right in the middle of the boxes. you can, if you're good at strafing, you can make that jump, but very niche. What else is there? You can flash a mate into underpass if a window player wants to. This always triggers me when I die to this. Window player, it's actually really hard for an underpass player to get this kill. Window player just jumps in like this and then gets the kill and runs away. You can make that even more reliable if you have your short player. Just chuck a little flash like that, and that's gonna not blind the window player because they all jump in front of it. Forgot the lineup. Troy does this, I think. You can run and do a right click. I can't remember which part of stairs you're going at. Something like this, I think. That was it, perfect. And there's your pop flash. So you sort of release once your crosshair hits the you know, not the stairs anymore. Something like this. Like that. I mean, I guess it's not really a true pop flash because it bounces on the ground, they hear that, but it's very hard to dodge that. It's a good one to start the round. As you can see, you take a couple of seconds to reach the bottom of underpass after it's thrown, so it's better to have one person run down and then have their mate throw the flash. If you're the person running down, make sure you hug the right hand side. If you hug the middle or the left hand side, you might body block their flash. So hug the right hand side, the flash comes in, you look away and get killed. One more time, these are the two flashes I throw over B site, everyone should know these. You can just span through sight like that. I think you can actually shoot a short plant from here. You know, that's something to experiment with, but I'm pretty sure you can defend a short bomb from here. I don't know. Is that the lot? Oh, if you have a bottom mid and the window smoke faded, Electronic did this a couple of days ago. You literally just walk straight up, work out if you're about in the middle, and then just chop them like this. And then once you've done that, that's a perfect opportunity to boost, because you can boost and camp here without being seen, and then when the smoke fades, the CTs probably won't be ready for you, and you can get a jump on them. By the same token, if it's smoked, you can jump up like this. Good way to hold connector mid rounds. Short player comes in like this, and you just get on that by looking that and walking out. I hold W and D at the same time. Look out like this. You can also pitch. If you're ever trapped in mid like this, you just look at slightly above the brick. That's about as good as you can do to try and help yourself escape. If you ever need to flash out of Palace, I mean now since the update, since this is now curved, you can bounce one off like this pretty easily. And that'll flash the site, and that'll help your Tetris ramp players as they push the site. Or you can do one like this, line up here, find where this line meets this line, drag it down a bit. If you do one step and throw, oh bugger, I need to go more to the left, I guess. No, not the left, I'm retarded. More to the right. There you go. If you just do one step, you get a similar effect to this one. But the real value comes, so find that line, pull it down to about the height of this crack. Now pull it right a little bit. Is if you do a lot of steps, you can pop flash the underpass guy. So this is a nice one to pair up with. I failed at that time, but pair that up with the molly, because this is one that Tony always talks about. If you can flash enemies while a molly is down, it's double trouble, because they're not going to see where they're going, so they're probably just going to sit in the fire for longer than they have to. if you ever need to line up the molly for when you're smoked out, I think, is this how you do it? It used to be different on the old Mirage. I'll just work it out now. Oh no, it's pretty similar. So you get into this corner, aim at about here, and then you swing around here. And as you can see, if I'm in this angle or in this angle, so that was not going to work. So you need to get yourself at the far angle. Right. That shit's not going to work. Can't we correct that? There you go, low. That worked. Alright, so here's how you molly when you smoked out. Aim at the top of this brown thing, then pull that back. Make sure you're standing on the far left hand side. Left click. There you go. One thing that is pretty easy to do from here now on the new Mirage update is you aim at the height, same molly line up, now drag it up to the horizontal bar. Same thing, stand on the right hand side, and you can spam through a smoke to kill someone who's camping onward. Like that. If you ever want to pop flash, if you're ever struggling with this jump like that, it's because there's a different elevation here. So the way I used to do it is come up from the first elevation and try and aim to land on the very jagged edge. Like that. Then jump up here, then jump up here. Into this corner. Aim a little bit above this height. Step throw. Like that. Or you can just, if you've got a really good spawn, sometimes do this with the AWP, you can just go full on, hit them as you're running away, shot one like that, and that'll deter them from chasing you. If you're camping ninja, you can actually jump up onto firebox by holding W and A as you do a crouch jump. And that's an alternative for getting on top of this. If you're ever playing double box, just bank a flash off the wall here. Not too high, otherwise it'll pop in your face as well. But that's a super safe way of no step on that, just a normal left click. Super safe way of getting a flash. I showed in the first video, if you take the smoke line up, aim 2 bricks up, you'll molly Tetris. That's a great one to help. So if you're the double box player, cool for your mate to do that, and then as the Tetris player's running away, you kill him for free if you don't want to take a straight up fight. If you're playing Underwood and you need an impromptu flash, you just do a step throw off this, like that. If you want the proper lineup that you set up, the Michael flash, you aim halfway along this piece of wood once you're in this corner. And you can peek out with it. That's never going to blind you. That must be everything now. Yeah, just key points. Make sure everyone can do this Molotov so that we don't have to send specific players to Palace on A executes. Oh yeah. On the A execute, when the jungle smokes down, I know Carl throws this smoke, which is good. Molly even, which is good. Pros do this all the time. Throw the bench molly, and that discourages jungle smoke, but it discourages AWPers from strafing out onto bench, getting a kill and running away, because now they're going to have to do it and take 60 molly damage while they do it. If we got spare Molotov and you want to molly triple box, pretty common spot, just chuck one like that. That'll do you a job. Or I think you can do it with a jump bind as well if you aim really low. Yeah, and that'll pop nice and quickly. Final points. Simple do this to Ents once. You can spam this. You don't need an AWP. I guess Glock won't do it. I think AK does it though. Perfect. And then, if you ever want to deny a default plant, get into this corner. The lineup's kind of not that obvious. I think, how do I line up? Maybe like halfway along this line, raise it a little bit. Perfect. And you're spamming this. If they're slightly further back, then obviously just go more than halfway. And then you'll get someone standing in this line. So that's a really good way of killing a default planter. Trying to think of other things now. If we're ever doing the eco rush mid, oh my god. There you go. If we're ever doing the eco rush mid, get one guy to the short jump. I did this yesterday. Both times that I hit the short jump, I got a 2k and a 3k on our eco rush mids. So that'll just make it a little bit harder. We get people coming from lower and people coming from upper. It just makes it harder for the T's to deal with. When you're coming up here, so we don't block people, do a 90-degree strafe and then crouch early. And then I think that's everything.